Welcome and congratulations for making the final and playing the final of the Grand National Novice Pairs. I hope you had a fabulous time. I'm Pete Hollins, and today I'm joined by none other than Laura Ginnan. You might know her as the manager of Real Deal Bridge, but what you might not know is she's actually represented the Australian Juniors, the Victorian Women's, and when trialling for the Australian Open team in a pairs trial, she came 8th, so narrowly missing out there. Welcome, Laura.
Thanks. Great to be here, and I'm so excited to be the finals analyst. It feels like an honor, and hopefully, we can give you something to work on for your game and a bit of an insight that might help you.
All right. Well, what we're going to do today is just like the other days, is go over the boards and give our thoughts. So we'll jump in and look at board number 1. So here, North would pass, and East has a normal 1 club opening, and South has a good enough hand to overcall 1 diamond. It is important to know here that even if you overcall 1 diamond, that should still be a 5-card suit. So whatever suit you overcall, it should be a 5-card suit. And West has an interesting option here that they didn't otherwise have, is they could double. And double can show 4-4 in the majors exactly. So I really like double with the West cards. And then North has a fit in diamonds. And I like just jumping to 3 diamonds immediately. I like that to actually just be 6 to 9 points, but I've got more diamonds for you and just try and take away space from the opponents. And if East knows they've got a heart fit, I reckon I'd go ahead and bid 3 hearts, which might end the auction. What do you reckon?
I think there's a couple of interesting things here. I really like the double by West. So in an uncontested auction, you can only show your hearts, but in a contested auction, we get the double, which allows us to show both our hearts and our spades at the same time, which is amazing. The North players bid, I don't know if a lot of people would have seen the 6 to 9 jump up to 3 diamonds. So I think we'll have a lot of 2 diamond bids happening there. But it is definitely one to consider. What do you, I guess people need to play Q raises if they're going to use this 3 diamond bid, which is another can of worms.
So if you're strong with the diamond sport, what I like is bidding the opponent's suit. So if you bid 2 clubs as the North hand instead of 3 diamonds, that wouldn't be a Michael's bid, but instead can be a Q raise showing 10 or more points with a fit. Now we don't have that hand, but that takes the avenue for any strong raise of partner. So that just allows those immediate raises to be distributional raises with more trumps.
Yeah, so let's say there is a 2 diamond bid rather than a 3 diamond bid by North. What are you doing as the East player here? Are you still bidding 3 hearts and kind of, I guess I like to think of these ones as not counting any points for my Jack of Hearts, but counting 3 for a shortage? And do you still want to be bidding 3 hearts, or will you settle on 2 if the auction's just at 2 diamonds?
For the Jack of Diamonds, I wouldn't be counting 1 point for the Jack and 3 points for the Singleton. So I think that I would count 3 points for the Singleton, making this hand about 15 points. So I would probably just be bidding 2 hearts, although I wouldn't criticize anyone for jumping to 3.
2.5 hearts it is.
Either way, I suspect East-West should compete to 3 hearts. Like if it goes 2 hearts, might go pass, and North bids 3 diamonds again. East might try their 3 heart bid, completing their 2.5 hearts. I don't mind North pushing on to 4 diamonds with a 10 card fit. I think that's reasonable, but I think most people would subside in 3 hearts because I don't often try and compete to 4 of a minor.
Yeah, as it turns out, according to Deep Finesse analysis, that both sides can make the 3 level in their trump suits. In terms of the card play, it seems relatively straightforward in both contracts, I think.
Yep. What about board number 2?
Board number 2. So this one, the old 11 counts. Gotta love these games of do you open this 11 or don't you? In terms of this one, I don't like that all my honours are scattered around the place. I do like that I've got a 5-card heart suit. I don't like that I've got spades. I'm kind of either way, but I think we'll see a lot of passing around the room. Pass from South, pass from West, and the North hand will start off with 1 club, and our East hand there I think should definitely overcall if they haven't already. The other good, although their suit quality is not great, don't forget partner knows you're a passed hand if you did pass originally. So what'll happen is you can definitely be very happy overcalling on this one. And at that stage, South will be able to bid one spade if there wasn't a heart overcall, or double showing spades if there was. And then North can raise to 2 spades, and I think that's probably about where we'll land. I'm pretty sure, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is almost 2 spades around the room religiously. One thing that's really important, I think, about this one is when you have the east hand, the south hand, some people get a bit overboard as responder, wanting to show their 10 to 12 points and thinking they need to push on. If your partner has shown their 12 to 14 and you've got 10, the maths tells us that at most our partnership is going to have 24 points together. So you don't actually need to take that push. You can be the one that just passes. If you have to limit your hand yourself, you do need to jump in the auction, but if partner's been the one that limited, you get to do the maths and decide to stop that bit lower.
Yeah. If East does open, which I don't mind because they're not vulnerable, I'm a big fan of aggressive openings, not vulnerable. I definitely would pass this one vulnerable. But let's say it goes 1 heart. I reckon it would go pass, maybe pass. What would you do with the North hand over a heart? Pass, pass.
If we've got people who do play a 1 no trump bid here as just showing sort of what we call a weak no trump, the 12 to 14 or so, we might see some 1 no trump bids. We might see some 1 no trump bids from people who even play it as a bit stronger. But I think I generally wouldn't be surprised if I see a lot of 1 no trump bids. There might be some doubles. There might be some passes as well.
If it goes a heart pass pass in that pass out seat, most people, the common expert thing is to reduce the 1 no trump range a bit, rather than just letting them play in 1 heart. So you can choose partnership wise what precise strength that actually is, but it's usually weaker than just the normal 1 no trump overcalling strength. And if you did bid 1 no trump, I'd expect that's where the auction would end. Moving on to board number 5. Here, North has a nice hand. They're going to start with a 1 heart opening. East has a pretty good hand here, and I'm sure I'd see quite a few people overcalling 2 clubs on this. But I actually like pass here. For me to overcall 2 clubs, I want a 6-card suit or a really good 5-card suit. This hand doesn't really fit the bill of that. I don't feel any urgency in trying to bid that. I might be able to show my points later. So here I'd have it go heart, pass, pass, and West can bid a spade. North has hearts and diamonds, but there's no need for them to keep the auction going when their partner's a passed hand. So here I would just pass, and as East I would be jumping to 2 no trumps probably, which should be showing just under like a 1 no trump overcall, sort of 12 to 14 points. And West could try 3 no trumps. East might just be ambitious and just bid 3 no trumps over a 1 spade bid. But if your partner's got as few as 8 points, you're probably too weak. So because when you overcall, you can have significantly less points than when you open, that's why the 2 no trump strength actually is stronger in that spot. Not 10 to 12, but more like 12 to 14. Compensating for your partner's sort of lower point range. And West, who has a genuine strength overcall, probably should pop it into 3 no trumps, but there's one that's relatively easy to miss 3 no trumps. Alternatively, if you did overcall 2 clubs, go 2 clubs, 2 spades from West, East would bid 2 no trumps and West should pop it into 3 no trumps. So whether you overcall or not, I do suspect you should get to 3 no trumps, but I do think I'd see a few people miss it. What do you reckon?
A couple of things. I think that it's going to be very rare to see East passing this one, but let's play along. I'll be with you and say that they do. I think that if they had passed it and then their partner overcalled 1 spade, they're going to be pretty embarrassed that they've got all these points they haven't shown and just be jumping up to 3 no trumps at that stage. I think on this hand as well, the East hand having the 10, 9 and 4 cards in hearts is heaps more powerful because you know you've got that double stopper, you've got a bit of timing management, and also having the king jack of spades in partner's suit, that's excellent as well. So I think that if East did happen to pass, they're going to be pretty excited later. But for the most part, I suspect that we'll have East overcalling. I personally would overcall this one, and I think that my reason for that is that if partner's got a reasonable hand and they can make an advance, I'm very happy being in a 3 no trump contract. So I'm an overcall here, much to Pete's dismay. But if that was the auction, we'd have 2 clubs by East, 2 spades by West, and then East would be happy putting it into 3 no trumps at that stage, I think. What about board 9?
So here North would pass, and East has a balanced 13 count and can open at club. And South has a beautiful hand, 6-4 shape. I just love these hand shapes. Here they could consider a takeout double, but my goal would be to overcall a spade and then maybe make a takeout double later. If you start with a double, you might lose the fact that you've got a 5 or even a 6 card spade suit. So here I'd have it go a club, a spade, and as West I'd just raise to 2 clubs. North would pass, East would pass, and South now has choices. Do they want to double? Do they want to be bidding 2 hearts? Do they want to be bidding 2 spades? Now, I definitely want to be showing my hearts rather than just repeating my 6 card spade suit. So for me, it's about, do I double or do I bid 2 hearts? Now, I think both are reasonable. More often than not, I often try and make doubles in this spot just to be more flexible. What if my partner has like a really long diamond suit that they want to show, or things like that. Here, I'm a little bit hesitant about my partner might be willing to try and penalize the opponents because I've got a void. And here, the North hand definitely should pass for penalties if their partner makes a takeout double. And it actually works out pretty reasonably for you. But I think 2 hearts is probably a more common bid. And that might go 2 hearts past 3 hearts past 4 hearts. If South did choose to double, I suspect it would go all pass because even though it's a takeout double, North has 5 card clubs and really good clubs at that for trying to penalize the opponents. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, North definitely has some big old intermediates there if a double does come around. Interested that you're now in the two club camp for this one rather than maybe 3 clubs over the 1 spade bid. Nice to have that preemptive option if you do play it for your partnership.
Yeah, you could bid 3 clubs with your partnership there. Here, when your partner, so the previous one, your partner had overcalled a diamond, so you know you got a big fit. Here, when partners opened a club, they might only have 3, so we're only guaranteed an 8 card fit. That being said, you got a 5-5 shape. I think it's completely fine bidding 3 clubs here. Got that available.
Yeah. Over 3 clubs, if they do have that, what are you doing with the South end?
I would double. I feel like bidding 3 hearts in that spot's too committal. And I think the power of the South hand is perfectly happy to play at the 2 level. With partner not contributing anything. But at the 3 level, I think that, hey, well, what about stopping in diamonds or stopping in hearts and all kinds of things like that is perfectly reasonable. So I like a double over 3 clubs. Also, I have far less fear of partner passing my double and them still making the contract as well. So
yeah, that's true. Be interesting to see what the results come through as on that board. What about 15?
Yeah, so here South has a 6 card spade suit and is vulnerable against not. So they've got a couple of choices here. So their choices are, do I pass, do I open 1 spade, or do I open 2 spades? And I think this one's pretty awkward. Your suit quality is not great for a vulnerable against not preempt, but you are pretty maximum. Often these sorts of hands I tend to sort of open 1, but I really just dislike King, Queen, Doubleton, Heart. I really just don't think this has the playing strength to actually want to be opening. So for me, I'd be weighing up, is this an appropriate hand to preempt 2 spades, or should I just be passing? Now, I am on the fence about this one, but I would choose to pass, but I don't mind if someone chose 2 spades here. What about you?
I'm on the fence too. I feel like one day I'll do one day I'll do another. Today I'm bidding 2 spades. That's where I am today.
So I'll just talk through a couple of different options. So if it goes pass, West gets to open 1 heart, North would pass, and East has invitational strength hand and support for hearts. So however your partnership does that, whether it be 1 heart, 3 hearts, or its equivalent, I'd expect it to go 1 heart, 3 hearts, 4 hearts, effectively. I would accept the invite with the West hand. You've got 13 high card points, including a singleton queen. You can sort of discount that queen, but count as if you had 3 points for a singleton. So your hand's 14 points, in give or take. And opposite an invitational bid, I usually accept with that.
14's a horrible opposite invite, especially assuming you do have to be at the 3 level, because partner's got the good hand, you want to be there, partner doesn't, you don't, but you don't have the ability to bid 3.5 hearts to invite them. With 14's opposite an invite, if you have to, just go. Pretend they've got the 12 or the upper 11, give it a crack.
After a 2 spade bid, this is quite tricky. West has a couple of choices. They could bid 3 hearts, but their heart suit's pretty awful for overcalling at the 3 level. So back with my similar theme, I just like a double here, saying, hey, I've got a shortage in spades, I got all the other suits, where do you actually want to play? Now, usually I really like just bidding my 5-card major in these spots, but I want some suit quality behind it, and that's just not there. So I'd have it go 2 spades, double, northward pass. East has a really awkward hand.
It's interesting.
I'd probably just be bidding 3 hearts, and East-West might miss game after the preempt.
Yeah, or else East might even try 2 no trumps.
Yeah, so it depends on how you play your 2 no trump bid. But East has a hand that their king of spades looks much more suited to try and play no trumps, so I don't mind East-West ending up in no trumps either. But I do think after a preempt, it's going to be really difficult for East-West to actually bid game in hearts here.
If you do play Lebensol, you'll be able to untangle it, hopefully, but other than that, it's a tricky one, that's for sure.
What about board 16?
Board 16, we've got our dealer as West with a pretty good looking 10 count, but just a pass for me. And the North player has a pretty average looking 12 count and will open with 1 club. As the East player, I think it'll depend what your system agreements are. People playing Michaels will probably use Michaels. People not playing Michaels should be overcalling with 1 spade, the higher of 2 5-card suits. Now, as the South player, an interesting one. So if we've had a 1 spade bid, I think I like 1 no trump. Yeah. If we've had a Michaels bid, then it's a bit more complex of what you do. I think I might just pass. What are your thoughts?
I would pass unless I've got some fancy agreements here, which I'm going to assume most people don't have, so I won't delve into them.
As the West player, if there had been just the 1 spade bid, I think that you might pass. You might bid 2 clubs over the 1 no trump, but I think I'd probably just pass and be happy defending a no trump would be my idea. But if there had been a Michaels Q bid, you're now in this awkward position where you don't have a fit for either major suit. Don't fall into the trap of passing clubs though. My default is just kind of basically going to hearts, so I'd just bid hearts. Some people might be able to bid 2 diamonds to ask partner if they've got more cards in one of the suits or something like that, but I think that for the most part I could easily see it just kind of getting to something like 2 hearts in an awkward sort of way. And then our South player has to figure out what they want to do after having been quiet in that position.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind South bidding 3 diamonds. I wouldn't mind them just passing again. It's sort of an awkward hand, but I could see South bidding 3 diamonds and getting themselves into a little bit of trouble, but passing is not unreasonable because it looks kind of like a part score hand and partner hasn't done any more bidding. And yeah.
Where do we think we get to if South bids 1 no trump and it goes pass back to East? Are you bidding your hearts now?
Yeah, so if I wasn't able to show my 5-5 immediately, I'd do it that way. Yeah.
So we reckon we might get to 2 spades by East-West, 2 hearts by East-West, 1 no trump we're not going with, but 3 diamonds by North-South as well as an option.
Yep.
Mixed bag.
Yeah, and there's one where you just really hope you ended up being the defending side. But moving on to board number 17. North has a pretty normal 2 spade opening, and East has 7 decent hearts. So it is really awkward. You don't usually preempt over a preempt, so a 3 heart overcall should be a pretty decent overcall, and we've also got length in spades. We don't have a shortage in spades, more to the point. So I'd actually be passing over the 2 spade bid. South would probably pass, and as West I would be bidding 3 clubs. North would pass, and as East I would try... I feel like I'd just bid 3 hearts, but I feel like that's sort of undercooking the hand. I might feel like I have to catch up and just jump to 4 hearts over it and hope for the best. But if you bid 3 hearts, I would expect that's where the auction would end. If you bid 4 hearts, I expect that's where the auction would end. Yeah, what do you reckon?
I feel like you're giving yourself these awful problems later on by not taking some actions earlier. I would overcall the East hand, although it's only got 8 high card points. I think that Ace King to 7, in my opinion, is just so fantastic because there's times where they're just 7-2-2 and you actually just get 7 tricks out of this suit. So I think just Ace King to 7 rather than even King Queen or Queen Jack to 7, so much more powerful. And yeah, there's a lot of hands that I think that if partner has the spades, they'll be sort of might be passing and we still could have been able to make a game or things like that. So I'm a 3 heart bidder, sorry, with the East hand. And yes, I don't think it's going to work out all the time, but I think it's probably a better idea to bid them myself. In which case, wow, West will get pretty excited to hear that. And you almost might get 2 overboard. And a good theory in these positions is being aggressive to game, but pretty passive to slam. So hopefully they can put the brakes down and appreciate that they'll probably have a couple of spades to lose on the hand.
Yep. Here North-South can actually make 4 spades. I don't think that they'd bid it that realistically. You might bid it just thinking, oh, I think the opponents are making 4 hearts, let's try 4 spades. And it works out pretty well in the hand. So if you did bid on that, well done. And it really depends on your partnership style of preempting. You know your partner's got just a good spade suit. It's not unreasonable to think that opposite Ace King to 6 spades that you can be making 4 spades. So
wouldn't even be surprised, although there's 4 winners off the top for North-South. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some 4 hearts making, because they do need to cash them before they go away.
Moving on to board number 18.
18, another 11 count. Are we opening this one or are we not? I'm probably in the not, but I'm okay if you did. You do have both majors, which I'm not a fan of 444-1s, but hey, at least you've got both major suits. So why don't we talk about it both ways? We'll go pass first and then we'll consider it with a 1 club opening. So if we had pass by East and pass by South and pass by West and a 1 diamond opening by our North player, then you have a spectacular hand for a takeout double with the East cards. And we'll probably have our South player now bid some sort of no trumps. And if 2 spades is available, I'd still be bidding it with West. And I think we'll probably have East-West end up in spades that way. Alternatively, if East did open the bidding, and they opened 1 club and our South player passed, are you responding with this West hand? I think a lot of people probably would. And
I definitely would respond with. I like to usually respond if I've got an ace. Here I've got an ace. I've got a 5-card suit. I definitely would be bidding here.
One thing I like to consider is what would I do if I responded and partner bid 2 no trumps? Would I feel embarrassed? Would I know what to do next? This one I'm not entirely convinced, but I'm still with you on usually with an ace and a jack, getting up to 5 especially in a 5-card suit, usually a good shot. But if there is a 1 spade bid, North has a lovely hand for a takeout double. East will raise spades. We might see some competition by North-South, but I suspect that East-West will still come out on top in spades.
If it does go pass to North, who opens a diamond, it goes a takeout double and 1 no trump and 2 spades. If it then goes pass, I really think South should be following up with 3 diamonds here. even when your partner opens one diamond, even if it's only 3, at minimum, the only hand shape that you open one diamond with is precisely 4 spades, 4 hearts, 3 diamonds, and 2 clubs. And as soon as you can rule that out, you then know your partner's actually got 4 or more diamonds. So here my thoughts are, when East-West are in 2 spades, they have a fit in spades, we have a fit in diamonds. I don't want to let them play at the 2 level. I would go on to 3 diamonds. And I think it's awkward for East-West to compete to 3 spades over that as 2 passed hands.
Yeah, that's true. As 2 passed hands, it definitely does become more challenging. It's an interesting one with the south hand being a 4-3-3 shape, not your favourite shape. You do have quite a lot of defence going for the hand, but usually 3/2 is going to be a pretty good spot. You want to be the first to the 3 level. The vulnerability might deter some people from that action though.
Moving on to board number 19. Here South has a 1 spade opening and North can bid 2 clubs. East has a pretty good hand, and they might be thinking of venturing 2 hearts, which I don't mind, but you are vulnerable against Not, and the opponents are in a strong auction. I've started at the 1 level and bid a new suit at the 2 level, so they've got a lot of the points, and they're going to be escalating the auction anyway. And not only that, but they've actually started by bidding outside of your hearts, your 2 longest suits. So I would be very hesitant to try and bid 2 hearts on this hand, but I wouldn't criticize anyone for doing it. But if you took away one of those factors, I would be much more open to a 2 heart bid. So I really like pass with the East hand. South would follow up by bidding 2 hearts. North sort of awkwardly placed. This depends on your partnership methods. You might just bid 2 no trumps. You might just give preference back to 2 spades. You might bid 3 clubs. Sort of whichever one of those that you actually do. I think South should press on, and they would be worried about diamonds because 3 suits have been bid. So there's a spot where you might be able to use 4th suit forcing. Say, hey partner, do you have a diamond stopper? And whatever happens, North would say yes. So I think North-South should be getting to 3 no trumps on this one.
Seems reasonable. I think just the East hand needs to be so aware of the context here, just in terms of the fact that they have had the opening hand with South and then also the 10 or more points by North. So basically, you know, your poor partner's sitting over there with not very much. So even though in your mind this might just be a pretty standard regulation overcall, taking in mind the context of where we are at is so important.
What about board 26?
Nice distributional one here. So we've got East as the dealer who will be passing, probably a pass from South, and a 1 no trump bid here by the West hand. Now here's North, and what are they going to do? So this one will definitely come down to what your partnership agreements are. If you've got a way of showing a 2-seated hand, you definitely want to take that. If you've got something like 2 spades, spades and a minor, great hand to do it. If you don't and you've only got single suited overcalls to make, what single suited overcall are you making, Pete?
I don't mind either. I would probably just bid 2 spades though. Firstly, it takes away more space from the opponents, makes it harder for them to show hearts. Also, if we do have a game contract on where we find a big fit, it's going to be 4 spades rather than 5 diamonds. But bidding 2 diamonds is probably the better heart score battle option. But if I do that, it's not showing spades. Although the counter to that is you might be able to start with bidding 2 diamonds and then bid 2 spades over the opponent's heart.
That's what I was kind of hoping. I might get the chance to double dip and bid my diamonds now and still be able to call 2 spades.
Yeah, so that's good for maybe getting to round out your shape, but it's not great for just disrupting the opponents with a single bid. So,
yeah.
I think it's really close between the two, and I think they're both reasonable. Pros and cons for both.
If the auction came back at you at 4 hearts, if you had overcalled 2 diamonds, you'd definitely be sitting there wondering, if I did bid 2 spades, would they have been able to get there or not? Because it does give East a nice cheap double, a nice cheap 2 heart bid. They'll have some options. Yeah, in terms of where they would go, if it did go a 2 spade bid by North, presumably a bit of a curly one with East, but I think we'll see East maybe doubling.
Yeah, I like a double.
And then they'll find their heart fit and probably play game and might go off today.
I feel like they'll just stop in a part score. I feel like over the double, West would bid 3 hearts, but East only has 8 points and a 4-3-3. They shouldn't be getting too excited. For me, I feel like the East hand is just a competitive hand, so I wouldn't be wanting to push too hard with it.
Especially the Jack of Spades.
Yeah, and you could very well go off in 3 hearts in this hand as well. So
if we did have a 2 diamond bid by the North Hand,
I would also double.
I think if there's a 2 diamond bid, we'll see more passes than we might if there was a 2 spade bid. But then an interesting one is if it does go pass, having our West player maybe make a takeout double.
Yeah, I like double from the West player. Sometimes when you open 1 no trump and you've just got a small doubleton in the opponent's suit, that's okay to bid again with a takeout double. You don't want to do it with a high honor in that suit or like a 3 cards or longer, but I think a doubleton would be good.
Yeah, seems reasonable, and that might even get us back to that 2 heart point, although I don't think North will be shelling out to 2 hearts.
No. Anyway, thanks all for playing the Grand National Novice Pairs. I hope you had a fabulous time, and thanks Laura for joining me.
Thanks, it's been a pleasure, and congratulations to everybody for taking part in the national final, and well done to the winners.
All right, bye for now.